G'day everybody, my name's Craig from the Grow Co. Been trading for 20 years and I'm going to be covering in this video Bitcoin, total market cap, others, as well as a number of shorts that I found this morning in my group. And if you like this type of content, give me a follow or a subscribe or whatever it may be. And if you've got any questions, please do engage. Happy to answer them and be involved in conversation with you. Okay, so look, Bitcoin's been very down, very down over the last, so what was it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days. Yesterday it closed up, first time since Saturday. And what we've seen quite frequently is the market will start to move up during the Australasian hours, the Asian session, right? Then we're seeing the selling off coming into the market in the US and Europe time zones. Today we're seeing a little bit of the opposite of that. We saw some buying come in to the market throughout the US session, which is through here. Now we're starting to see some selling. Now that's okay because I'm trading the trends, and there's a number of short trades that were discovered this morning on my market scan, and as long as there's a trend, we can trade it. It's fine. But I wanted to talk to you about a couple of things here. First of all, Bitcoin's right around that area that I've been speaking to for quite a while. If you have a look at this monthly chart there, we're back into this zone, back into this cradle zone. I call it the cradle zone. It's been trading from this area for the last 15 years for the most part, just in the cradle zone or breakout strategies, and it's back into this zone. Now, each time we've come back into here, it's been pretty painful. Sentiment's been extremely low, and it's been over. This is the third time we're coming back in after we've seen this run on Bitcoin. And it is, I would say, the sentiment is by far the lowest in any of these pullbacks. And I think it's because, heavily because of, the October 10 event, we'll call it, wiped out a lot of people. And I feel for those people. Really weird how there's no questions being raised about it. That's the thing that's sort of frustrating me the most, is that there seem to be some liquidity issues with Binance and some order issues at Binance, and yet Binance has said pretty much nothing about it, and no one's pushing to get some information. I don't know. Hopefully the Clarity Act in the US brings that forward, and we have some clarity around things and some liquidity measures in place, like every other exchange or every other brokerage platform in any other market. There's some measures in place. So this month we are down 17% thereabouts, and each time we pull back, let's just be real here. From the high to the higher low, it was a 33% pullback back then when everything was really bad. Same again over here. It was about 32% there, and so far I think it's about 28. Is that right? To the low. About 28, 29. So we're right in the vicinity that if we are going to see a bounce, it's going to be somewhere around here, in my opinion. Going off of 20 years of looking at charts, that's where I would expect to see it. Now, the other thing we've got is we've got some convergence. So as the MACD, you'll notice I don't have the histogram. I don't have the signal line. I just have the MACD line. The things I have on my charts makes the charts very clean, for one, but they're designed purely around making decisions. There's two things I can do in a market. I can go long and I can go short. I can buy and I can sell. That's it. There's no other option. So anything that's on the chart that doesn't add to whether I'm going long or going short or buying or selling, I get rid of entirely. And I'm seeing convergence on the MACD. Doesn't mean it's definitely going to move higher, but the trend still looks rather good. This is the area, though, that we need to see something occur. Preference would be, a rip higher, but preference aside from that, which I don't know is highly probable at the minute. Perhaps this week, something in the Fed. There's a lot of discussions going on. We've got NVIDIA earnings out within the next 24 hours. I think within 12 hours, in fact. There'll be a lot going on around that. Interesting as well to me that one company, every market in the world is waiting for what NVIDIA does. It used to be Apple, Google back in the day. Amazon was there as well, and now it's just completely dominated by NVIDIA. Anyway, that's going to be interesting. Expect some volatility. But this is the area that I like to be buying. This is the area I like to be trading to the long side. I don't have a trade here, by the way. I've simply got a pullback into that cradle zone. But here's the thing. Down this month so far, 16.93% on Bitcoin. Total market cap, it is down 15.59%. So Bitcoin is falling harder than the rest of the market. But and by the way, this total market cap trend is also very nice. Convergence, pulling back into this zone, yada, yada. Same as Bitcoin, just with the total market cap, given that Bitcoin is 58.9% of the entire crypto market. There's no surprise it looks very similar. But this chart is the one that gives me a bit of this is the one that I find interesting. This is our others market cap. Now, if you look at the total market cap, you're going to see inside of that total market cap, you'll see all your top 10, including Bitcoin, of course. And that accounts for the majority of the market. 3 trillion, let's call it. The outside of that top 10 is only 229 billion. Now, interesting to me is that this others chart, everything outside of the top 10, is more or less exclusively retail. Okay, so there's no ETFs in here. There's no major institutional money. There's you might have some funds buying some coins in here, but they're not massive, right? It's not massive institutional exposure. It's you or me. It's retail. Others is retail. And retail this month is only down 8.5%. When you compare that to Bitcoin being down, what did I say, 18? Yeah, about 18 to the low. And total market cap down something like 15. There you go. Others is performing a lot better than Bitcoin and the total market cap. Does that mean that we're going to see an alt run? I don't know. Definitely not in my view. I mean, this trend is there's a lower high and a lower low on that October spike. It's a messy looking chart. But the thing I've seen shift is that when we see Bitcoin fall, we're not seeing the alts fall at a faster rate, which is what we're kind of used to. And what we've seen for the last sort of 18 months to 2 years, when Bitcoin falls, the rest of the market absolutely, big time falls. It's starting to swing. Now, this leads me to one thing. It looks like institutions are starting to get weak hands and sell out. And that's interesting. What does it mean? It can mean a lot of different things. The different things it can mean, there's no really much point in me going into because it would take too long. But ultimately, I think after the October 10 crash, I think there's a lot of companies that found themselves in a pretty sticky situation, and they may just be offloading some of their positions so that they can stay solvent or sneak out the back door quietly and not cause a big rigmarole. The sentiment right now is just so absolutely low. I mean, the others market cap, which is us retail, holding pretty well compared to everything else. But there's so much sentiment that is negative out there, despite having the Clarity Act in play. There's a lot of talk of liquidity coming into the market. The US government is now open again, and we're seeing a lot of stuff around this business cycle. The likes of Raoul Paul and whatnot talking about it's going to be 2026 because the business cycle has gone out 5 years. There's a lot of stuff that's underlying there that is positive. There is, but the price continues to fall. What does this mean? Well, it can mean whatever you want it to mean, but I always revert back to the charts and I trade trends. And right now, the trends that are available are downtrends for the shorter time frames. That's what I'm trading. The bigger picture, though, it remains in an uptrend. And if Bitcoin can hold, around this region, look, it can go lower and still be fine. But if it can hold around here into January and we start to see a bit of stability, that'd be the ultimate really good thing to see. Now, as I said, there are trends available, there are trades available, and here's a couple from this morning. I'll show you pump. These are the short side of things. Pump Fun. Beautiful pullback. Again, just following the trend. A little bearish candle. It's broken down. Looks like it's hit the first target of 1-to-1, which can either mean you're able to break even or it can mean you take the total position and you clear out and you take your profits. AKT is another one here. It's pulled back into this cradle zone and at an old level. And as you can see, there it is. She's falling nicely, probably at about 1-to-1 now. Well, this one here, again, another one with its bearish candle on its continuation to the downside, and another one here. This was on the 8 hour. As you can see, it's a very simple strategy. It's not overly complicated. Now, I am stalking CU as well for a potential break to the downside there on that simple level of support. These are simple strategies with checklists that are not hard, but you've got to be selective. My point being is that there's still opportunity out there. For the time being, the short-term momentum is to the downside, and that's where my trading is focused at. The bigger picture, though, we do have an uptrend on Bitcoin and total market cap on the monthly. We do need to see Bitcoin do something here, at least hold this zone. That's really, really important for the health of this trend. As I said, interesting though, others. I don't know, a lot of people are very, 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 very down on their altcoin portfolio because a lot of these coins are not performing, but there are a few that are holding quite well. It doesn't tell me much other than retail seems to have found a bit of a base of their selling for the time being. I'm not sure if that's you. Perhaps it is. Perhaps you're just like, right, I'm in this. Let's lock in and let's see this out. I'm not sure, but it is a shift that I have seen, and it is something that is definitely worth noting. So I hope this finds you well. I hope you're finding some great trades to the short side because that's sort of where they exist at the minute. And I hope you're in a good place. If you like this stuff, like I said, please give me a follow, hit the share button, do what you can, and any questions, please do ask. Have yourself a wonderful day. And if you'd like to do it, go and check out my profile where you can get on my free newsletter. Cheers, guys. Bye for now.